Hello, Patrice. I wanted to make you this video so we could talk about your paper and hopefully you understand the updates that I would like for you to make to it. So here's your paper. It looks good. And what I did is I created an update just doing some formatting in Microsoft Word. So here is your cover page, which all goes on one page. And then you have um, your body here, and then you have your references. Now, with regard to your references, um, these are definitely magazines, the New York Times and Mental Health America, but they are not professional journal articles. And here is why that's important. Um, Magazines like New York Times and Mental Health America, they review real journal articles, but it's not the actual data. And so to find the actual data, we can go to the CCBC website, go to Resources for Students, and use the pull down, and then go to Library. So when we talk about a professional journal article, what we're talking about is scientists that do original scientific experiments and report on those. And that's what we want to get at, the first person to actually report of the results. And so you wrote your paper on sleeplessness, and healthcare workers. This should bring up a bunch of different, here we go, prevalence of stress and insomnia amongst healthcare workers, in India during the COVID crisis and pandemic. Okay, this is another good one. So this paper looks good. I'm going to click on it. And over here, I'm going to slide this over. Over here on the right-hand corner, you you click Cite, and this automatically puts everything into the way that we're writing it, which is APA style. So I'm going to copy this whole thing and then go to my paper where the references are and paste it. And that way the reference is there. And then after I paste the reference for the paper, I click Cite again, and then over here it shows me where the PDF is. So one of the ways that you can tell like the original journal article is it has the journal up here somewhere and it has where you can find it. But these are scientists that are doing the original work. And basically they give you an overview of what they are going to do in the introduction. So the introduction is where you find out a lot of information. And basically what I want you guys to read is the introduction and the conclusion. The methods explains in detail, and some of it is very jargony, how how they carried out the scientific process and everything like that. But that's not really what you need. You want to read the introduction, which is why they're doing this particular science, and the results and conclusion. And that's basically what they've concluded from the research that they did. And here it says it has found a link between insomnia and burnout, but more meaningful data should be collected to clarify the role of sleep and burnout. So that's basically the outcome of their study, but they do a lot of introduction bit in research. So um, they highlight here that there is a relationship between high stress, burnout, and the consequences thereof. And so, for instance, if you were citing that paper, um, you would put somewhere in your paper a sentence that you write in your own words. So, like, for instance, we know the sleep impacts everything from cardiovascular health and metabolism to our immune response and risk for cancer. Um, this is probably factual information, but what you need to do is cite that. And for instance, I gave you an example here when you were citing the New York Times paper that you looked up. And how you would cite it is you would put the last name of the author and the date. Now, this particular author, sometimes there are many, many scientists that work on one paper, and this one's a little bit lengthy, but this is how you write a citation because you can't state facts like this without citing your work, um, especially when you start talking about like proportions and percentages and things that have to be scientifically proven. So what I'm going to put here is all of the last names of the scientists, and I'm going to take out the first initial. And these are a lot. Sometimes there are just two, which is nice and easy, but since you copy and paste them, it's not that bad. There we go. And just a couple more. So these are all the last names of the scientists that worked on this particular study. And before the last one is over, there's an ampersand. And then we do a comma and then the date. And say this person was just their last name was Aiden and they did it in 2022. It would just say Aiden 2022. So we're going to put all of this in Times New Roman in 12 point. And so the cool thing about this is the next time you want to cite this paper, the first time you put all of these people's names, just because we want to make sure we give everybody credit. But after you've already cited someone, what you can do is you can put just the first last name. And put a comma and put et al. And 2022. So that means this person and the rest of them. And that way you don't have to keep repeating all of these different scientists' names. But when you start talking about details such as what can give you hypertension and data like that, you have to cite a paper. And what the point of this paper was to do is to have 3 citations, to read the papers, put your references down here, and I just have one for you that you can find very quickly and easily. But I would like for you to find 2 more that are professional journal articles that you find at our digital library. Even though the New York Times is a very reputable magazine, and so is Mental Health America, but basically what they're doing is they're reporting on other people's data. And so it's kind of like we want to hear it from the first person and also give the first person the credit for doing that particular science. And what I ask that you do is the first paragraph or 2, write about the summary of what you learned. The second paragraph or 2, write the most important things that you found interesting. And those first two parts have citations in it. The last paragraph, which you did very well, which you talked about how you would come in contact with this as a sleep technician. This is your opinion and your information, so you don't have to cite anything. Now, what you did in this paper is you sprinkled in your opinion and your experience throughout the paper, which is fine. But what I would like for you to do is to have that all at the end, and the first 2 being reporting on your findings. Now, I hope that was a little bit more, it explained it a little bit better and you understand it a little bit better. I'm not a doctor yet, but one day I might be. But for now, I just have an MSW, a Master's of Education, and I always put my RPSGT. So that's something that you're going to have at some point. So I'm going to save this and send this to you and hope you understand it a little bit better. And what I would like you to do, and there's no rush on this, but what I would like you to do is to find the 2 more journal articles and copy and paste them here and sprinkle in your references and citations. just because I want to get it to um, I want you to make sure you understand that we need to cite these things or else it's plagiarism. You did a great job here because you even said, according to the New York Times, so you're on the right track. We just need you to take the next extra step. And I hope if you have any questions, you can email me or we can talk about that. So now, if you can do this at some point soon, that's great. I'm not going to rush you on this, but I would like for you to update this paper. And if it has to be after your group project, then that's fine. No rush. I don't want to stress you out about this. I just want to make sure you get it right before you're done. Alrighty, take care.